Atari was the epitome of video game innovation in the early 1980s, reigning as the largest gaming company and the fastest-growing enterprise in the USA.
The company's U.S. businesses have filed for bankruptcy protection in Manhattan. You may remember Atari was behind such early video games as Pong, Centipede, and Asteroid.
Their influence on shaping the video game industry is undeniable, laying the groundwork for the modern gaming landscape we know today. While they may now exist as a mere shadow of their former glory, it's intriguing to ponder how different circumstances could have propelled them to become one of the leading electronics and technology giants of our time. In this video, we delve into the swift rise of Atari, as well as the pivotal moments where their trajectory took an unexpected turn. In the groovy era of the 1960s, a young electrical engineer named Nolan Bushnell was immersing himself in the halls of the University of Utah. Amidst his studies, he encountered a mesmerizing marvel: Space War. This groundbreaking combat video game, crafted by Steve Russell in 1962 on a DEC PDP-1 computer, ignited Nolan's imagination like a supernova. With the University of Utah boasting its own PDP-1, Space War quickly became the talk of the campus. Nolan, with his keen eye for opportunity, saw more than just a game. He saw the birth of a new era in entertainment. Fresh out of college, he embarked on his professional journey as an electrical engineer at San Francisco's Ampex. It was here that fate intervened, bringing him face-to-face with Ted Dabney, his future partner in innovation. Pooling their talents and passion for gaming, they set out to revolutionize the industry with a groundbreaking creation: computer space. While the game itself borrowed heavily from the college classic Space War, it marked a significant milestone as the very first commercially sold arcade game. What set Computer Space apart wasn't just its gameplay, but also its visionary design. The duo capitalized on its futuristic appeal, crafting a cabinet that exuded an otherworldly aura, inviting players into an immersive gaming experience that was truly ahead of its time. Despite its innovative design and gameplay, Computer Space faced a major hurdle. It looked downright intimidating to the general public of 1971. In an era where computer literacy was limited and futuristic concepts were still unfamiliar, the game was perceived as complicated and confusing. Unfortunately, this lackluster reception meant that only around 1,500 units were produced. While not a runaway success, this modest production run could still be considered a small victory. And then they formed the company, christened Atari, a name borrowed from an ancient Chinese board game. Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney recruited the brilliant Al Alcorn as their design engineer. With Al's technical wizardry on their side, they set out to conquer the gaming universe. And conquer they did, with the birth of Pong, a game that would rewrite the rules of entertainment. By August of 1972, the very first Atari Pong machine emerged from the workshop, polished and primed for action. Its destination? A bustling bar in Sunnyvale, California, where the sun wasn't the only thing shining bright. But fate had a quirky sense of humor in store for the Atari trio. Just days after its grand debut, disaster struck. The Pong machine, overwhelmed by its own success, ground to a halt. The culprit? A flood of coins, eagerly inserted by throngs of eager players jamming the coin mechanism. Yet, from this seemingly inauspicious beginning, Atari found its stride. Pong's brilliance lay in its elegant simplicity, a stark departure from the intimidating complexity of its predecessor, Computer Space. With just 2 paddles and a bouncing ball, Pong offered a gameplay experience that mirrored the familiar dynamics of real-life ping pong, making it instantly accessible to players of all skill levels. While Atari wasn't the first to conceive of a ping pong video game, they undoubtedly perfected the concept. Pong marked the first time this idea was brought to the masses in a significant way, catapulting arcade entertainment into the mainstream consciousness. But Pong's genius extended beyond its straightforward mechanics. By introducing the revolutionary 2-player aspect, Atari transformed gaming into a shared activity. Both players could actively participate in the game simultaneously, fostering a sense of camaraderie and competition that was previously unmatched in arcade gaming. In essence, Pong not only revolutionized the way people played video games, but also reshaped the social dynamics of arcade culture, laying the groundwork for the collaborative and competitive gaming experiences we enjoy today. Pong's meteoric rise was nothing short of phenomenal. By 1974, over 8,000 Pong machines had infiltrated every nook and cranny, from restaurants to amusement parks, leaving a trail of excitement in their wake. But behind the scenes, cracks began to appear in the once solid partnership between Dabney and Bushnell. Their differing visions clashed like asteroids in orbit, leading to a rift that widened until it became unbridgeable. By 1975, Dabney had cashed out and moved on, leaving Bushnell at the helm of Atari. Despite the resounding success of Pong, Atari's financial stability remained precarious. In 1975, when they sought to bring Pong into homes with a dedicated console, financial constraints loomed large. Their lifeline came in the form of a strategic partnership with Sears, who provided the necessary funding in exchange for exclusive sales rights in their stores. This move proved fruitful, with approximately 150,000 units sold just in time for the lucrative holiday season. However, despite this initial success, Atari continued to face challenges that strained their finances. Under Bushnell's leadership, the company embarked on ambitious ventures, including attempts to penetrate the Japanese market, establish arcade chains in Hawaii, and develop complex racing games. Unfortunately, these endeavors consumed substantial resources without yielding commensurate returns, leaving Atari financially stretched. Moreover, Atari's reliance on Pong exacerbated their financial struggles. While they introduced other games, none achieved the same level of widespread popularity as Pong. Consequently, Atari found themselves heavily reliant on the sales of Pong, a situation compounded by their slow progress in securing exclusive rights to the game. This delay allowed other companies to produce their own versions of Pong, further eroding Atari's market share and revenue streams. In 1975, a breakthrough in semiconductor technology paved the way for a groundbreaking innovation, a home console capable of playing multiple games. Recognizing the immense significance of this advancement, Bushnell and the Atari team seized the opportunity to create such a console. With a solo mission ahead, Bushnell set his sights on this new frontier, bringing gaming into the living rooms of the world. Enter the Atari Video Computer System, a groundbreaking home console powered by the cutting-edge MOS technology 6502 microprocessor. But even with dreams as big as the universe itself, Atari faced a dilemma. They lacked the firepower to mass-produce their revolutionary console. Faced with this cosmic conundrum, Bushnell made a game-changing decision. In 1976, Atari changed hands, with Bushnell selling the company to entertainment juggernaut Warner Communications for a jaw-dropping $28 million. And thus, the next chapter in Atari's epic saga began, forever altering the course of gaming history. While many are aware of Steve Jobs' tenure at Atari before he co-founded Apple, the profound influence Atari had on Apple's trajectory is often overlooked. It all began with Nolan Bushnell's concept for Breakout, a game he envisioned but struggled to find engineers to bring it to life. Enter Steve Jobs, then a humble technician working night shifts at Atari. Amidst the backdrop of exorbitantly priced microchips, Nolan Bushnell devised a clever incentive scheme at Atari, a $100 bonus for each chip Steve Jobs managed to eliminate from his concept. However, Jobs, eager to capitalize on this opportunity, employed a somewhat dubious tactic. He enlisted the help of his friend, Steve Wozniak, then working at Hewlett-Packard, to aid in creating the prototype within a tight 4-day deadline. Despite the arduous task, Wozniak committed himself wholeheartedly, sacrificing sleep to ensure the prototype's completion. True to form, he delivered, meeting the deadline with aplomb. However, when it came time for compensation, Jobs walked away with a $5,000 bonus, while Wozniak, the true architect behind the prototype, received a mere $375. Breakout burst onto the scene in April of 1976, arriving just days after Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak laid the foundation for Apple Computer. Yet, for Wozniak, Breakout wasn't just a game, it was a catalyst for a grander vision. He dreamed of a version of Breakout coded entirely in the basic programming language, an aspiration unattainable with their first computer, the Apple I. Undeterred, Wozniak embarked on a mission to craft a new computer that could fulfill this dream. Infusing it with innovative features like color graphic commands, pedal controller circuitry, and a built-in speaker, Wozniak's creation, the Apple II, was born. Upon its release, the Apple II captured the imagination of users and became an instant hit, propelling Apple into the spotlight. What's fascinating is that the Apple II came bundled with 2 paddle controllers tailored specifically for playing Breakout. This underscores the profound influence of the game, as many of the features that distinguish the Apple II were directly inspired by Breakout, a remarkable testament to the game's lasting impact on technology and culture. At Atari, after some differences with Warner's, Nolan left the company in 1978, and as the dust settled from his departure, Atari found itself at a crossroads. With the arrival of Ray Kazar as CEO in the following year, a new chapter began for the iconic gaming company. Under the umbrella of Warner Communications, Atari was infused with fresh capital and resources, heralding a period of innovation and expansion. With Warner's backing, Atari embarked on a bold venture, the creation of the Atari 2600. The Atari 2600 wasn't just a console, it was a game changer. With its revolutionary design featuring joysticks and interchangeable game cartridges, it opened the door to a new era in gaming, captivating audiences worldwide. However, with Warner's influence came a shift in focus. The once cherished ethos of creativity took a backseat to the relentless pursuit of marketing success. The R&D department saw downsizing, replaced by a cadre of marketing experts tasked with driving Atari's brand forward. Yet, amidst this transformation, Atari's gamble paid off handsomely. The Atari 2600 captured the hearts of millions, with sales soaring to 1 million in 1979. Doubling to 2 million the following year. By 1982, annual sales had skyrocketed to a staggering 10 million units. As the 1980s unfolded, the video game landscape resembled a bustling metropolis, with Atari reigning supreme as the undisputed king. The industry was awash with unprecedented riches, fueled by a voracious appetite for gaming entertainment. However, beneath the glitz and glamour lurked the shadows of uncertainty. Despite the soaring profits, the business of gaming was still in its formative years, navigating uncharted waters with each passing day. Questions loomed large. What did audiences truly desire? How could products be effectively monetized? And crucially, how could the hard work of developers be properly recognized and rewarded? Yet amidst these uncertainties, one thing was abundantly clear: money talked. As the cash registers chimed with every new sale, more and more companies were drawn to the allure of the gaming gold rush. The Atari 2600 stood tall as the flagship of this burgeoning industry, but it faced stiff competition from a slew of other home consoles, each vying for a slice of the lucrative market. But the gaming boom wasn't confined to traditional electronics and toy companies alone. As profits soared, even businesses from unrelated industries began to eye the gaming arena as a potential goldmine. It seemed that everyone wanted a piece of the action, regardless of their background or expertise. Yet, as the floodgates opened and consoles inundated store shelves, the industry found itself at a crossroads. The once thriving market now groaned under the weight of oversaturation, with new contenders seemingly emerging at every turn. Amidst the gaming frenzy, a formidable rival entered the ring: the personal computer. With their versatility extending far beyond gaming, PCs emerged as all-in-one solutions, serving both entertainment and business needs. Their ability to store game progress for the long haul was a game changer, making the prospect of continuous play all the more enticing. As PCs became increasingly affordable, consumers faced a pivotal decision: invest in a device that could do it all or stick with dedicated game consoles. This dilemma posed a threat to the traditional gaming market, as the appeal of multifunctional PCs cast a shadow over the once dominant allure of gaming consoles. In the early days of gaming, a silent army of programmers toiled away in the shadows, pouring their hearts and souls into creating entire games from scratch. Yet, within the hallowed halls of Atari, their efforts often went unrecognized. Credits were strictly forbidden, as Atari sought to maintain its singular brand identity, leaving programmers feeling like mere cogs in a vast machine. Despite their monumental contributions, programmers were relegated to modest salaries, typically ranging from $20,000 to $30,000 per year. Even if their creations went on to sell millions of copies, the financial rewards were disappointingly meager. Frustration simmered beneath the surface until it reached a boiling point in 1979. Four talented programmers, David Crane, Larry Kaplan, Bob Whitehead, and Alan Miller, decided they'd had enough. Disillusioned by Atari's lack of recognition and financial compensation, they took matters into their own hands. Breaking away from Atari's grasp, they set out to forge their own path, founding a revolutionary new company, Activision. Here, they vowed to create a haven where programmers would be valued and celebrated for their contributions. Activision's founding marked a seismic shift in the gaming industry. Unlike Atari, they understood the intrinsic worth of their programmers and provided them with the recognition and compensation they deserved. In a bold move that sent shockwaves through the industry, Activision began creating games for Atari consoles. But here's the twist: Atari saw none of the profits. Activision's success signaled a new era in gaming, one where the creative minds behind the games wielded newfound power and influence. With the rise of Activision, Atari's once dominant business model was shattered. Atari retaliated with a lawsuit, but to the relief of consumers, the courts ruled in Activision's favor. With the emergence of Activision and the landmark court ruling in their favor, the iron grip Atari once held over game development began to loosen. The gates were flung wide open for third-party developers, heralding a new era of creativity and competition in the gaming industry. The court's decision was a victory for consumers, granting them access to a wider array of games and experiences. Suddenly, the once exclusive realm of game development was accessible to anyone with a passion for coding and a dream to share. As the floodgates opened, a tidal wave of new companies rushed in to seize their piece of the gaming pie. From seasoned veterans to unexpected newcomers like Quaker Oats and Purina, eager to capitalize on the burgeoning market, the industry saw an unprecedented influx of players. Yet, amidst the excitement of newfound freedom, a double-edged sword emerged. With so many companies vying for attention, the market became oversaturated, making it increasingly difficult for consumers to navigate the sea of options. Moreover, as talented programmers saw the success of Activision and other third-party developers, many felt emboldened to strike out on their own. Atari, once the undisputed leader in gaming, found itself hemorrhaging top talent as its best programmers defected to join the ranks of the competition. With more games flooding the market, quality became a growing concern. As competition intensified, some developers prioritized quantity over quality, leading to a decline in overall standards. In their pursuit of profits, Atari seized the opportunity to acquire the licensing rights to the arcade sensation of the year, Pac-Man. With visions of holiday sales dancing in their heads, Atari executives eagerly set their sights on bringing Pac-Man to the Atari 2600. However, there was a significant obstacle standing in their way. Atari's acquisition of the Pac-Man license came late in the year, leaving a narrow window for development and production. Determined to meet the lucrative holiday market, Atari faced a daunting challenge: turning the beloved arcade classic into a playable version for their home console in record time. To expedite the process, Atari enlisted the help of an external freelancer. In a decision that would later prove costly, they agreed to a royalty fee arrangement based on the number of units manufactured, not sold. With Atari forecasting a staggering $12 million in sales, the freelancer stood to earn a substantial sum regardless of the game's quality. This arrangement, however, inadvertently set the stage for disaster, with financial incentives skewed towards quantity over quality and time constraints looming large. The pressure was on to deliver a product hastily. Unfortunately, the rushed development process resulted in a Pac-Man adaptation that failed to capture the magic of the original, earning widespread criticism and disappointment from fans and critics alike. Despite the initial success of Pac-Man, Atari's adaptation fell short of expectations, plagued by slow gameplay, unappealing graphics, and a host of bugs. Despite selling 7 million copies, Atari found themselves burdened with 5 million unsold cartridges gathering dust in warehouses. Undeterred by this setback, Atari's executives saw an opportunity with Steven Spielberg's blockbuster film, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Believing that a game tie-in would be a surefire hit, they quickly secured the rights and set their sights on rushing the game to market. However, in their haste, Atari repeated the same mistakes as before. They imposed an incredibly tight deadline of just 6 weeks on the programmer tasked with creating the game. This unrealistic schedule left little time for proper design, testing, or refinement, setting the stage for another potential disaster. Despite the warning signs from their previous misstep, Atari seemed determined to prioritize speed over quality. Little did they know that their rush to capitalize on E.T.'s success would result in yet another infamous chapter in gaming history. Atari pinned their hopes on the name recognition of E.T., expecting consumers to flock to the game without hesitation. However, burned by the Pac-Man debacle, audiences adopted a more cautious approach, opting to wait and see if the game lived up to the hype. Unfortunately for Atari, the game fell far short of expectations. Upon its release, players were greeted with a frustrating and confusing experience that left them scratching their heads in bewilderment. The E.T. game quickly gained notoriety as one of the worst pieces of interactive entertainment ever created. Far from being the Christmas gift everyone wanted, the E.T. game became the holiday disappointment of the year. Out of the 4 million copies shipped by Atari, a staggering 3.5 million were returned by dissatisfied customers, adding to the growing pile of unsold Pac-Man cartridges gathering dust in the warehouse. As Atari churned out disappointing games at full price, their competitors weren't faring much better, flooding the market with their own lackluster offerings at discounted rates. The result? A gaming landscape on the brink of collapse. The tipping point came in December of 1982, with Atari's much-anticipated earnings statement. Shareholders were stunned to learn that despite the company's assurances of growth, they would only see a modest increase of 10 to 15%. This paled in comparison to the previously projected 50% growth, sending shockwaves through Wall Street. The fallout was swift and severe. In the wake of Atari's disappointing earnings report, the market for both consoles and games plummeted. Sales across the board took a nosedive, signaling a reckoning for the oversaturated gaming industry. For decades, whispers of a buried treasure, millions of unsold Atari game cartridges echoed through gaming lore. It wasn't until 2014 that the truth emerged from the sands of a New Mexico landfill. Once the crown jewel of the gaming revolution, Atari had fallen from grace, mired in a staggering $500 million debt. Industry analysts painted a bleak picture, warning of the imminent demise of the gaming industry and urging investors and retailers to seek alternative avenues. Yet, against the backdrop of Atari's decline, the spirit of gaming endured. While the company struggled to stay afloat, the emergence of video games on personal computers offered a ray of hope for the industry's future. Undeterred by their setbacks, Atari charted a new course in the PC market. Their Atari ST computer, introduced in 1985, found a receptive audience in Europe. With its groundbreaking MIDI capabilities, the Atari ST became a darling of the electronic music scene, earning praise for its innovation and versatility. While the Atari ST computer found success in the music industry, attracting renowned producers like Fatboy Slim, Tangerine Dream, and Darude, it faced stiff competition from rivals like the Commodore Amiga and Macintosh. Despite its innovative features, the Atari ST struggled to gain significant market share in the face of formidable competition. In 1993, Atari aimed to revolutionize the gaming world once again with its Jaguar console. Touted as a 64-bit powerhouse with 5 processors, the Jaguar promised to deliver unparalleled gaming experiences. However, reality fell short of expectations. The Jaguar's performance proved to be average, its price tag hefty, and its complex architecture made game development challenging. Coupled with a poorly received controller, the Jaguar failed to capture the imagination of gamers and developers alike. Ultimately, the failure of the Jaguar marked the end of Atari's hardware endeavors, signaling a shift in focus towards software and other ventures. Despite Atari's decline from its once dominant position in the video game market, its impact remains indelible. In 2007, the iconic Atari 2600 was honored with a place in the National Toy Hall of Fame in New York, alongside beloved classics like the Rubik's Cube and Lego. Atari's influence extended beyond gaming, with connections to tech giants like Apple and Microsoft. In a curious twist of fate, Atari once hired a young Bill Gates to program BASIC onto one of their computers. However, Gates's penchant for missing deadlines led to his eventual dismissal. As Atari's star waned, Japanese game company Nintendo rose to prominence, with their Nintendo Entertainment System poised to take Atari's place. Surprisingly, before the crash, Nintendo approached Atari with a proposal to release a console under the Atari brand. Fortunately for Nintendo, the deal never materialized, paving the way for the NES to become a gaming juggernaut in its own right. Atari's imprint on the gaming world remains indelible. Despite facing numerous challenges, their contributions and innovations have left an enduring mark. The nostalgia for classic Atari games and consoles persists among retro gaming enthusiasts, serving as a testament to Atari's lasting influence. As the gaming landscape continues to evolve, Atari's legacy stands as a poignant reminder of the pioneering spirit that laid the foundation for the dynamic industry we cherish today. We want to hear your thoughts. Which Atari product was your favorite? And what do you think went wrong with the company? Thanks for tuning into this episode. Hit the like button if you had fun, and don't forget to subscribe for more. If you enjoyed this, you'll definitely like the video on your screen now. Click and I'll catch you in the next one, confirming the legend that had captivated gamers for so long.